I got Jesus, the Eternal Bridegroom in the mail today. Here's the paperback. I'm really pleased with how this came out, and I'm getting really good at cover design here. This looks really nice. Um, and here's the back of the book. And then when you open it up, these are the pages. It just came out really nice. Cast of characters here. I noticed my paperback's selling, but my Kindle version's not selling. I don't know what to make of that. Maybe everybody's taking advantage of Amazon's library or something. Okay, there. And here's some of the inside. Like, here's a chapters. This just came out really good. I'm just really pleased with this. I'm getting good at book design. I do all my own work. I write the book myself. I write the text. I design the cover. I actually format the book for publication. And Jesus has given me talent in art, writing, book design, and computer skills so that I am able to do all this myself and I don't have to hire people. And I like this because one time when I did hire Rose Dog Books to format Silver Skies, the company was Jesuit. They botched the cover, and it just came out really crappy looking, and it just looked horrible. And it made my writing appear really amateurish and not professional at all. So I'm getting really good at cover design. And here's what the inside looks like. It's an 11. I really like the book Antigua font. It's very readable. I actually downloaded fonts specifically for books, and I really like this font. This is really nice. It's very readable. It's a nice size, and this book has just come out really good. So I'm really pleased. The paperback is very nice. Maybe everybody's getting the paperback. Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but Brent has been telling me brain to brain that he's personally autographing some of the paperbacks. Maybe that explains why everybody's getting paperback. They all want an autographed version. If you want an autograph, see, because he writes the introduction and the narration, so this is kind of his book as well as mine. It's kind of like he co-wrote it with me, sort of, because I use so much of his writing in it that I hear that he's personally autographing some of these books and sending them out to people, and that might explain why people aren't ordering the Kindle book, because they want an autographed book. Just try, anyways, try emailing my men at gailsmen@yahoo.com, gailsmen@yahoo.com, or gailchordschuler, gailchordschuler @gmail.com. Or try judgeterryjenkins @yahoo.com, judgeterryjenkins @yahoo.com, and see if you can get an autographed copy. I don't know if what I'm hearing brain to brain is accurate, but that might explain why nobody's getting the Kindle version. Either that, or Zach Knight's manipulating the computer to make it look like nobody is and they are. But I went to Amazon and requested that they allow other retailers to sell my book, other online retailers. So if you go online and just do a search on Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom, or under my name, Gail Chordschuler Books or Gabrielle Chana Books, you might be able, if you can't order it through Amazon because the Jesuits have blocked that and the link doesn't work, try seeing if you can get it through another source. You can also order it from CreateSpace, directly from CreateSpace. CreateSpace, CreateSpace.com, and just do a search under my name, writer's name, Gabrielle Chana, and you can order my books through CreateSpace. I ordered this one through CreateSpace. I order my author copies that way, so it's really, this just came out really good. I'm getting really good at book design, and the interior, the writing is improving too. Oh, I have already started on my next book, and let me see if I can show that to you. Vladimir Putin lost his wife Larissa in 2000, but right after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, attacks in the United States. He fell in love with Gail, Chord, Schuler. Jesuits then used George W. Bush to extort the Russian president into a political marriage, November 2001, to Vladimir Putin, under threat of war with the U.S. This book explores how Vladimir's love for Catherine the Great gave him the courage to overcome suicidal depression and to eventually debunk Ludmila. There's the artwork. I spent all day yesterday designing this cover. All day yesterday. Let me see if I can get that in there. Yeah, all day. It took me a while. I work with GIMP, G-I-M-P. It helps you design covers for books. Jesus told me to only spend money on food and bills, so I don't spend any money on any special programs. I just use whatever's free and work with that. And I used GIMP to design this cover. I drew this picture of Vladimir, which is one of my favorite pictures of Vladimir. He actually used this picture to flirt with me back in September 2001, right after the 9/11 attacks. So it's one of my favorite pictures of him. And I think I did a pretty good job of capturing the soul of Vladimir in this. Anyways, this is a picture of me from like 1991. But because he fell in love with me. He actually did research on me before he fell in love with me. You know, he's a good president. He does his homework, and he was impressed with what he found out. So he learned about the history between me and Brent Spiner, and that Brent had not been able to acquire me yet as his wife. And he thought maybe he'd have a better shot. And then my book is going to go into how he tried to do that and how the Jesuits caused problems for him and some of the courageous decisions he had to make. Vladimir is a very complex man, and let me just go ahead and get back into every single aspect of his life and do justice to this book. So, like a good nonfiction, the only writing teacher I had was Jim Murphy, the Institute of Children's Literature, who happens to be an award-winning children's book author, and he specializes in nonfiction. And one thing that I remember him teaching me, he said, when you write nonfiction, it's important to outline and to stick to your outline, because it's one of the biggest dangers in nonfiction writing is you write about anything and everything. You just throw in everything, the kitchen sink, everything in there, and then the book is boring. It doesn't have a focus, and you're rambling all over the place. And even Jesus himself, Jesus has been my writing teacher too, and he told me not to do that. He said, you have a tendency to do that in your videos and in your writings, Gail. So just going by Jesus's writing instruction for the next book, I already designed the cover, and I created a musical playlist that kind of expresses the themes of the book, which I'm calling Vladimir and Catherine the Great, with the subtitle of Vladimir Putin in Love. The reason I decided I'm kind of getting away. I have this book here is part of my Forbidden Abyss series. This is book number 2 in the series, Forbidden Abyss Part 2. I was going to jump right into Forbidden Abyss Part 3, but then I turned on the news and they were telling me how the Tsarnaev guy was pronounced guilty for the Boston Marathon bombings. And I know for a fact that he didn't do it. It was Ludmila Putin and Sarah Avery and the fat chicks who were behind that. And, you know, I just thought this is so unjust. And then I thought, hey, Gail, you should always write what you're passionate about. And right now, you feel like you need to defend Vladimir Putin and to help the world to get a better understanding of what really happened at the Boston Marathon bombing. So basically the book's focus, I'm going to open up with the Tsarnaev guy, and he's going to be talking with Vladimir Putin. And I'm going to kind of set it up like the Dr. Zhivago movie, where it opened up with a character who didn't turn out to be a main character in the story, but who kind of represented the theme of Dr. Zhivago. And this was Dr. Zhivago's daughter, who ended up growing up without her father and mother. She was raised, I guess, by an adoptive family or on her own. And Tsarnaev is going to be a symbol of the charades that Vladimir Putin has had to play as Russian president. And so the theme of the book is going to be about how we need to be real, how we need to be authentic, and how how difficult it is for a president in today's world, with a world ruled by Jesuits, to be an authentic and real person, and how Vladimir had to struggle with this. So the focus of the book is going to be on authenticity, on Vladimir's spiritual life, the spiritual side, and the love life of Vladimir Putin, which you never, ever hear about it. And nobody's written about that. Even Vladimir doesn't write about it. He wrote a book called First Person, and he ended up renaming his wife Larissa into Ludmila to placate George W. Bush. And there is no book out there that, as far as I know, that accurately portrays the spiritual side of Vladimir Putin. And that'll be the book that I'm writing. And you're going to see a side of Vladimir Putin that he kind of keeps under wraps, but which I'm going to reveal. And I think it's going to make this book very interesting. And as you can see from the cover, I've kind of captured that in his expression here. Let me, okay, do you see that there? I went to a lot of trouble when I designed his face there to kind of capture the spiritual side of Vladimir Putin, and you can see it there. He is a Russian Orthodox Christian, but he is an, I'm going to show, he basically decided to adopt the Russian Orthodox Church to honor our ancestor, Grand Prince Vladimir of Kiev, who was the founder of the Russian Orthodox Church. But he is a born-again Christian, a born-again Russian Orthodox Christian. That'd be a good way to describe him. But he's more than that. He was Russian Orthodox, but once we established Church of Gail, he's now become, he attends Church of Gail now. So I guess he's no longer strictly Russian Orthodox, though he does attend like their services in Russia to show support for them. But anyways, I will be exploring the spiritual side to Vladimir Putin. And the main focus is going to be on that. And I'm aiming for about 80,000 words, which would be a good length for a nonfiction book. And it's going to be written in biographical novel style, like a nonfiction novel, kind of in the same style as this. I plan on using first-person point of view. Vladimir will be telling his own story in first-person point of view. He will be the narrator character. He will tell his own story. And I realize that he doesn't speak perfectly good English, but I'm going to have, in the story, I'm going to have him speak English, but I might state that he's speaking Russian. So, because even though in the Forbidden, Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom, I had him speaking with a Russian accent, I think I'm going to limit that in this book and just state right up front that he's speaking Russian and have him use very intelligent English, because he's a very intelligent man. And so anyways, he's going to be the subject of my next book. I'm going to have to spend about a month going over all of my notes. I wrote a journal every day, 2003, 2004, 2005. When I was with one of Vladimir Putin was my main man. I'll have to go over all that. Of course, most of that will not go into the novel. I was doing it for research, just to make sure everything's accurate. It will be covering the spiritual side of Vladimir Putin and what it was that finally made him debunk his Ludmila wife. By the way, he never went to bed with her, which I'll be exploring in this book too. So it'll be an interesting take on Vladimir Putin.